Did Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake put Square Enix on notice when it comes to another major JRPG franchise that they have? Well, that might be so. We're going to talk about that in addition to Foamstars flopping out of control at this point, and a big update when it comes to the Nintendo Switch and what's happening in Japan. But before we get into all that, what's good everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get my Nintendo Switch RPG videos, live streams, and more first as soon as they drop. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the news here with Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. Square Enix has given us an update on exactly how well this game is doing, and it's doing pretty good. More than 2 million units sold worldwide at this point. So Square Enix put out this press release about 3 weeks after launch here. Yeah, it hasn't really been too long. And they said that Square Enix announced recently that Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, the RPG that IGN called a shining example of how to remake a classic RPG, has surpassed 2 million units in worldwide shipments and digital downloads. The game, which launched globally on November 14th, is currently available for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, and PC via Steam and the Microsoft Store on Windows. Acclaimed by critics all over the world, Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake is a complete remake of Dragon Quest III, originally released in 1988. Now featuring the HD 2D graphic style, a unique blend of pixel art and 3D graphics. The story of the series' familiar turn-based command battles remain true to the original, but Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake also includes a variety of additional elements, including voiced event scenes, orchestral music, a new Monster Wrangler vocation, the Monster Arena feature for extra challenges, and new story episodes featuring Ortega, the protagonist's father. Now, additionally, the classic Dragon Quest III story fans know and love, which is chronologically first in the Urgic trilogy, has been refined to better tie into the events of Dragon Quest I and II HD 2D Remake. Dragon Quest I and II HD 2D Remake is planned for release next year. So they're pretty happy with the sales here so far. They also gave us a bit of an update, kind of out of nowhere, of Dragon Quest XI. Overall total sales for that game have surpassed 7 million units. This is the base Dragon Quest XI and Dragon Quest XI-S Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. All of this is multi-platform, of course, and that's what I want to get to next with this, because I had a lot of people talking on my Twitter page, and I've seen it after I made my post saying, hey, we got an update for Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake faster, way faster than we got an update for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out back in February of 2014. Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake just launched in November of 2014. So the fact that they were so quick to give us a sales update for Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake compared to nothing so far with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth lets me know that, yeah, they're probably not happy, once again, with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And I've had some people kind of go back and forth a little bit saying, oh, well, it still did better than this or that. And that's really irrelevant at the end of the day. We're talking about what Square Enix themselves are actually saying. One, they literally said that Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth have not lived up to the expectations because of the development budget of the game, which I would guess the problem is that they are investing a ton of money into these exclusive Final Fantasy games, and they are not getting the return that they would like to see, or at least what they anticipated compared to a game like Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. Yes, it's not a super cheap like indie game to produce, but it's definitely nowhere near the cost of a Final Fantasy 16 or a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth that pushes the PlayStation 5 to its limits, to where you need a PlayStation 5 Pro in order to really make it look the way that you'd like it to look. And that's a $700 system at this point. I do think that that's where some people don't understand when it comes to development costs and why they would be happy with a game that sells a little bit less compared to a game that maybe sold more. Well, it's all about the investment and return on profit. That's the biggest thing here. So I think that with the update that you saw for Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, in addition to them updating Dragon Quest XI sales being over 7 million, which is better than what Final Fantasy 16 and what Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth have done. And obviously Dragon Quest XI has been out way longer overall, but from what I understand, it definitely had a better launch too when it comes to the original launch of Dragon Quest XI on the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo 3DS. It was a multi-platform game from day one, and then when they added on the Nintendo Switch version, it blew up even further back in 2019. I definitely think that this puts Final Fantasy and puts a number of things that Square Enix does on notice when it comes down to it. Dragon Quest is still a predominantly Japanese-based franchise when it comes to the popularity of it. You look at the sales here, we know that in Famitsu, it sold nearly 1 million units retail only, not including the digital, where it's #1 on the eShop and high up on the PlayStation charts. So most of the sales are in Japan. So worldwide, nowhere near as popular as it is in the base of Japan, if you're just looking at it from a populist standpoint. But at the same time, you're still selling a lot of copies and making a lot of money, as this game is a $60 game overall. So it's not like it's a much cheaper game than what they've put out before. So the fact that they've been able to do what they've done and announce the sales numbers of not only Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, but Dragon Quest XI shows that they're very excited and happy about that, and it's absolutely met the expectations that Square Enix is looking for a good return. So I think that this is absolutely not going to spearhead the change for what Square Enix is doing, but it's definitely going to be something that we're going to see in the future from Square Enix. They've already stated, hey, look, we are going to do the multi-platform stuff. Like, they talked about this, and there are still people on Twitter and people out there that don't know that Square Enix has announced that they are going to aggressively pursue multi-platform, especially with AAA development. I'm paraphrasing here, but those were their words in a investors meeting business report, where they're looking at the short to long term, 2 to 3 years and beyond, what they want to do to reinvigorate their business and completely overhaul what they've done before, because they have not been hitting where they feel they can hit based off of the IP that they have. Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Nier Automata, or the Nier franchise. They have some pretty powerful IPs that can do quite a bit of selling if put in the right position, but you need the leadership and you need the developers, and you need to get everything in line. You have to have the logistics set up in order to have those super high return on profits that Square Enix is looking for, and they have not been able to achieve that according to what they've said themselves. And of course, Final Fantasy plays a big part in that. Pretty much the only game when it comes to Final Fantasy that really achieved what they were truly looking for is the recent stuff with Final Fantasy 14 overall. That was huge for them, but it took a while for them to realize that, yeah, Final Fantasy really hasn't done what we want it to do. At first, they're like, oh, it's okay. But then later they're like, maybe not so much. And they actually told us the truth, to the point to where they haven't even announced the sales numbers for Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. So Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake selling more than 2 million units, and them announcing it so quickly definitely to me is like, oh man, what's going on when it comes to Rebirth, since they haven't announced those sales numbers yet. And Square Enix is absolutely one of those companies that if something's doing well, they will take the time to make the press release and say, hey, it's done this, and give us the sales numbers. They're always one of the first to do that when it comes to press releases and announcing sales numbers. So the fact that they have not given us anything for FF7 Rebirth, but we've already got something for Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, tells me things aren't going so well on that side. But maybe we'll get an update in the year anniversary. Maybe there'll be something at their next investors meeting. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how that did. Square Enix already had plans to change, but this was absolutely the nail in the coffin when it comes to the updates here for these Dragon Quest games, as this is a more Japanese-centric type of game, yet they're doing incredible when it comes to the multi-platform releases, with Dragon Quest XI eclipsing 7 million units and Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake off to a hot start already, eclipsing 2 million units. So What do you guys think when it comes to what Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake has done here? Let me know in the comment section. But now we're going to move on to the next topic here, guys, and that is Foamstars. This is something that I called from the very beginning would be a flop. When I actually went into the beta myself, or like the test run thingy that they did, and it was a disaster. Like, whenever I got into games, which it would take a really long time to get into games, but once I got in, it was just a soapy mess of bright colors going all over the place that almost gave me a seizure at one point. And I don't even get seizures, man. So it was pretty crazy when it comes down to exactly how this game even kind of got greenlit overall. And it looks like it's pretty much on the chopping block at this point. So what we got last year is that it was a paid game with a lot of microtransactions and cosmetic stuff. And then it went from a paid game to a free-to-play game, and then going down from free-to-play game to essentially no more content for it. So Foamstars will go into sunset mode after the next season. So after going free-to-play a few months ago, like I stated here, Foamstars is the latest game to announce that it won't be receiving additional content. This is from The Gamer. In a letter posted to its official website, Square Enix has revealed that season updates for Foamstars will end as of December 13th, after which the game will be available to play, but no new content will be released. So that's coming up pretty soon here. Now, there was also a message from one of the developers, and they stated this, quote, "Thank you so much for playing Foamstars. I don't want this to sound like a final message since you will be able to continue playing the game. However, I wanted to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to you all once again, so I've taken up my pen to write this producer's letter," said the note by producer Kosuke Okatani. Since the game's release on February 6, 2024, the development team has been working tirelessly to add new content and features, striving to bring the game as close as possible to the goal, the note continued. Throughout both the development and operational phases, we have faced many challenges. However, the support of you all who play the game, which I'm going to add a note in here, which is not very many people, along with the incredible fan art, has been a constant source of encouragement for the team. It's because of this support that we've been able to overcome these difficulties, always with the goal of responding to your feedback. Online services for Foamstars will remain active, meaning you'll be able to play the game, but there will be no new content. Besides regular maintenance updates, previous season passes will become available to all players who wish to make progress in them. As part of the final update, the Foamstars Cup Fill feature in-game events named after each character. Quote, "Thanks to you all, we've managed to successfully complete every update we had planned. We've been able to reach this point because of your warm support. On behalf of the entire team, I'd like to take the opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude," concluded the letter. So it's good that he's thanking everybody, but let's be clear with this, guys. This game was not some type of massive success. There's not a ton of people playing this, and whoever is supporting it when it comes to the microtransactions or monetization, it's a very small, tiny group. Barely anybody is playing this game overall because of the number of things. Like you said, there was a lot of challenges, but the game is just a visual mess in terms of what I've played. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why people stopped playing the game. It's hard to even gauge what's going on screen. And I'm not trying to kick a game when it's down at this point, obviously, but people saw this coming from a mile away when it came to Foamstars. They saw this coming from a mile away, and it's once again Square Enix investing in this live service stuff without having a real plan put together in order for it to be successful, which it ends up just becoming a waste of resources. This game's going to be shut down soon. Like, this is how the windup is. They're just trying to let it off a bit easy here and try to let the fans, be like, okay, maybe there's a little bit of hope, but by next year, this game's going to shut down. I'm pretty sure they're going to say, all right, no more servers. There's no point. You're not making any money off of it. You haven't really made any money off of it. You had to make sure that you went from a paid to a free-to-play type of thing. And now you're sitting there and saying, well, there's no more updates after what, about a year or so, right? It's been about a year or something. So clearly, when you make a game like this, you want to continue making money off of it, especially when you go free-to-play. But the writing was on the wall when you went free-to-play, when that was not the original plan for the monetization option of this game. It was to be paid plus microtransactions. So, I mean, it's a flop, guys. It's a big flop. But hey, it is what it is. maybe they'll learn from this, maybe they won't. Square Enix, they've had a number of live service flops over the years. Babylon's Fall, now you got Foamstars here, so maybe they'll rethink what they're doing, and actually not even maybe, they will, because they've already detailed what they plan on doing going forward in their business. So games like Foamstars probably will be on the outside looking in next time. So what do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comment section below. Now for this next topic, we're going to discuss something that Nate the Hate recently said on his most recent episode of the Nate the Hate podcast. Now, according to what he's heard that Nintendo is preparing an event for the Nintendo Switch 2 for May 2025. Now, Nintendo is still slated to reveal the Nintendo Switch 2 or talk more about it or whatever the case is before the end of March 2025, but this gives us a little bit more clarity on what potentially could be happening and the timeline. So I wanted to go over the possible scenarios here, hypothetically speaking, if what Nate the Hate says here, and honestly, Nate's been right on so many different things, and he wouldn't report on something unless he truly felt that it was going to happen. So we're going to take what he has to say at face value, although it is a rumor, but I do think that it lines up with some things that have been out there and potentially what Nintendo could be doing. So if you have an event in May 2025, Nintendo could have a turnaround very similar to what they saw with the Nintendo Switch 1. They had an event in January 2017. The system launched in early March 2017. Now, Nintendo did have some type of reveal beforehand, which this is lining up to be the same thing, because in October of 2016, they had a reveal of the Nintendo Switch. So something tells me that they probably are going to do the same thing, but it's just shifted over a little bit. Instead of October 2016, January 2017, and March 2017, it's going to be early 2025, May 2025, and then probably July, August 2025 for the launch of the system. So I do think that's the general timeline that they could be working on. I think that Nintendo does have the, I would say, benefit that they don't have to necessarily have the shock of what the hybrid system is, moving away from having a dedicated home console, dedicated portable, and now you're combining them together. People know about it, people love it, it's something that it's exciting, and people at this point are still buying the Nintendo Switch. They understand the concept of what it is. So you don't necessarily have to re-explain that like you had to do beforehand, because that was a departure from what Nintendo usually does. So I think that Nintendo knows that, and they're going into this thinking, hey, we can really just show some more information, have this event, then have a pretty quick turnaround from when we have that event and when it does launch. But yeah, this definitely lines up with what I think that they could do, and it's absolutely going to be interesting to see exactly how Nintendo gets things done. I'm not sure when they would have this talk before the end of March, but I'm guessing maybe sometime in January, February, they have some type of trailer revealing something or more information. Then, like Nate says here, May, and then maybe a couple months after that or so, they have the launch of the system. So it very much could be a summer type of launch, which does line up with some other rumors that other websites are reporting on at this point, that they've heard from developers that Nintendo is targeting a summer launch or so for the Nintendo Switch 2. So we'll see how it all works out. But what do you guys think about this latest information and everything else that we discussed? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch RPG videos and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.